Hey, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And I tell you, boy, I got two people here from different era. So, different educational level and everything, So we're really going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the Wall Street Journal. What do you mean you never heard of it? That's the background. We have Bill Keating here. He's a professor in this situation. He's in finance, and he's going to tell you a little experience he had. And then we had the new blood, Thomas. He figured he'd come on and give us some what's happening now. He and his daddy, we antique. Hey, Bill, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Ed, it's a pleasure to be here again, and always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, and then you brought a little help today, huh?
Well, yeah, he's home. Yeah.
Thomas is here to help you, right?
Yeah, he's home from for summer break, if you will.
From Amherst,
from
he's
Amherst
a
College.
senior there. And
he'll be a senior in the fall.
Be a senior in the fall and all.
And we're happy about that.
Somebody told you, say, hey, next time you go to Ed Brown Show, you better take some help. So you
I said, that Ed is a rough character, man. I need help.
So you brought your son.
I brought my big gun with me.
You brought the big gun. You figured he said, well, anything's happening now.
Yeah,
but what surprised me is when I showed him the Wall Street Journal, he said, who reads this? So anyway, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Nice to be here. Nice to see you again, too.
Having your family here and everything. But that was very significant, and it was something that I thought was interesting for the young people. Now, a young man like Thomas, I expect guys, 70, 80, 90, to say Wall Street Journal. They didn't even have newspapers, less more than Wall Street Journal when they were coming up, But my emphasis on the Wall Street Journal because of financing, which you are an expert in, is that, hey, look, you're not free unless you economically free. Who said that? Richard Wright.
Right, exactly.
The great poet. He said, you're not free unless you economically free. There's no laws going to give you economic security. Right. None.
Nope.
And hey, the way it goes, if I can make a quarter off my mama, I'll do it. That's our society.
That's exactly.
This is political society, and this is what we live in. And whether you like it or not, that's it. Yeah. Because what happened, I gave you an example of trade with the Comcast and Charter and all of that.
Right.
They want to corner the market. The first time they came up with the merger, people said, no, you guys can't merge. That means you corner the market. So they said, okay. About, a couple months later?
Yep.
Hey.
They had a new plan, didn't they?
Yeah, had a new plan, Charter. Anybody out there know anything about Charter before they merge with Time? No, not one. But that's the system. You're not free unless you're economically free. Right. Remember that. Now, hey, tell us, Thomas, I'll start with you. You were saying the Wall Street Journal, and nobody reads it. Tell me, how do you feel about the journal?
How do I feel about the Wall Street Journal? Personally,
yes.
I don't have any stocks or investments.
Well, you never have any because you wouldn't know anything about them, right?
Oh, I suppose so. I also don't have any money. That's the first thing that keeps me from buying stocks.
I know, but you have a crutch here, and Professor Bill.
I do.
He's a financial expert. You know what I mean? But the fact is, and you can tell him, hey, everything in this world, I don't know about the next one, is based on finance.
Exactly.
Well,
and no matter who you are, and the color is green.
I understand.
Okay.
You should worry about your own green first before you worry about anyone else's $1 billion of green. That was my first indictment of the Wall Street Journal. You don't have any business reading it if your own personal finances aren't under control and you don't understand those. I mean, investing is a leisurely monetary activity for most folk. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't agree now.
Okay. I mean, you have your things like your IRA, and
That's
I guess
for the
your
working
mutual
man.
fund. Yeah.
You know, the working
Exactly.
man
It is
doesn't
for the
make
working
money.
man.
The working man, 9 to 5. 9 to 5 was great when I was coming up. You know, you work 9 to 5. You know, you save money with it, war bonds and that kind of stuff. But now the corporate world, they don't work that way. First of all, you corner the market, and that's what the Europeans did. The first thing they did around the world is they went and they cornered the market. They went to the South America and all the
Caribbean.
natural resources that these companies had. What did they do? They control them, right?
I understand. I
Yeah.
guess that's just not an option for most people. Of course, barriers of time. It's 2015.
He's not going to help you.
I understand. I don't need his
You
help.
stop looking.
Most people, I don't think, have the time or the energy to invest in stocks in the way that the Wall Street Journal invites you to.
Well,
they don't.
The Wall Street Journal makes one serious contribution, and they bring information. And what we know, as long as everybody has the same information, then the markets will stay in balance.
But that's not true.
Oh, it is true.
Everybody has the same
I
information.
said, as long as everybody has the same information, the markets will
What
stay in
about-
balance.
Oh, balance.
In balance,
In
either
balance.
up
Okay.
or down or
Okay.
level.
All right. Okay.
The markets get out of balance when someone has privy to information that the rest of us don't have, and they act on it.
What about
And they go to jail, of course. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But the Wall Street Journal serves a great purpose. From my perspective, the Wall Street Journal helps you to understand where are the markets going to go. And you look at that little diagram we saw where the
Yeah.
U.S. production
A
of
shifting
oil.
oil balance.
Exactly, the balance. And so the Saudis, you know, they certainly, through OPEC, control a lot of the prices, okay? But you got to believe there's a serious conspiracy going on right now.
Yeah.
And that conspiracy is to keep the price of oil low, hoping to have Russia crawling to OPEC. And as long as those prices are down, we keep Russia in check, believe me. And they don't like that.
Right.
So there's a lot of good information in the Wall Street Journal. When I was
Right.
teaching finance, which I did for 15 years at Hopkins, it was mandatory to two things. One, you had to get a copy of the Wall Street Journal, and secondly, you had to change your radio station. If there was a beat behind it, it was the wrong station. Because information is money.
Yes.
Information is money.
It's money.
Yes.
Right.
Can I add an addendum to that?
Yes,
But who has the resources to really utilize that information?
I do.
Okay, good.
Most of the people I
most-
associate with do.
And
That's-
you
that
do
means
too.
I don't. I really don't.
You have resources. You have knowledge. You have a background. What happens is you have to be innovative. For instance, if a market or you take a chance. You take a chance in the bus coming, or take a chance on your car starting everything. It's going to be a chance. That's the way life is. There's nothing out there that guarantees you financial stability, because it's going to be. Most people feel they, if they're not successful the first time, then they give up. But most of the people that have money, they have failed more times than they have been successful.
Exactly. And I'll just add one thing. Thomas may not appreciate this, but when he was
It's all right.
9 or 10 days old,
Well, he don't know anything about that. No,
it's
no.
coming though, and I'll tell you how I'm going to end this. 9 or 10 days old, I said, well, I need to develop first an education plan for Thomas, and then secondly, I must fund it. I need to make some decisions as to where I'm going to invest those dollars as well, so that when we get to where we are now, we can support his education. And since Obama has been in office, the markets have been insane. They look like they're on steroids, okay? To the tune that when Thomas graduates next May, there will be a sizable amount of money in his account. And he just admitted he wouldn't know what to do with it. But since I do these webinars, which is financial education,
Yes.
Thomas is lined up to do those before he goes back to college. Otherwise, he cannot touch $1 of that until he gets my education for him
Right.
into the webinars. Yes.
That means, hey, none of those frills, you know, and
Exactly.
things like that, you know, that they generally want be accepted socially with.
Exactly.
See? And that's one thing that I find that young people, they have tendency to be into the social network. The average billionaire, millionaire, he doesn't live in a $2 million house.
No.
Although he can afford it, he does not show his wealth because he knows if he shows his wealth, it's going to be 1,000 people out there trying to get it. So he, in his investment, he disguised it in many ways. He set up corporations. He does all of that and if he loses money, he doesn't lose all his money because it's not all in one place.
Diversified, yeah.
Yeah, the key is diversified. You know, just like now a lot of I feel that as far as African Americans is concerned, the first thing they have to do is get the finances together. How many African American banks do you have? See, that's the first thing you look at. That's where look what happened in the housing market right here in Prince George County. Mm-hmm. Is that the banks, they sold the people a deal and the people lost their houses. Okay, so what did government do? They went to you and me, you know, the guy that's putting money in there, and they said, we're going to bail the banks out. They bail the banks out with your money, and guess what? And now this is one of the things that that happened is against blue collar and white collar crime. What the banks committed was a white collar crime. So what happened is they got bonuses for the system they had set up where people lost their houses.
That's true.
That's true.
Yep.
That is true. And I'm sure.
And our tax dollars bailed them out.
Right, yeah. I'm sure phones will be ringing off the hook of individuals that have been victim of white collar crime. And that's one of the things I've always said is that if they treated white collar crime as severely as the blue collar,
somebody would have been in jail.
We wouldn't have any problems. Mm-hmm. But the system is set up to protect people with the money.
Yeah.
And it's no, you know, but that's why I say you're not free unless you're economically free.
Unless you got the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what the young people have to realize. There's no such thing as, well, I won't work till I get rich. Hey, the money can work while you sleep.
There you go.
Whereas, you know, when I was coming up, 9 to 5, hey, I found out this is not the way. You know, is that you have to have the money working for you. There's so many ways that young people, opportunities they have now, is just sitting out there waiting for them to take over the economics of the African American, because that is the key. Don't wait. Here, a good example of what they're not doing is in the two industries that we've done well in. And they have not produced for the masses. And that's entertainment and sports.
And sports.
Where they have made the money, but they have not, as Maggie Johnson was one that has, there's, what is that?
He is a conglomerate.
Yeah, but the fact that he had to, in order to make money, and Michael Jordan, a good example associated with him, is that the owners of a team promised him, say you sign this contract, and then when you get ready to leave in 2 years, and he refused to do that. Now, if you're getting that kind of response from a person with the type of name like Michael Jordan, well known, you know what you young people are going to get when you get out there in the financial world. In the financial world, everything is green. Now, I use the expression, I have some people while about it, say, I'll do my mama in for a quarter.
You know, Shaq O'Neal made a beautiful statement. He says, we've come in this day and age, a lot of us make a lot of money, but most of us are not educated enough to keep it.
Right.
And I like that statement. And that's a true statement.
Yeah.
We don't have the education to keep it. We can look at, from Joe Louis to Mike Tyson, these guys Joe Louis died broke.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson, check out here tomorrow, he's broke.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they didn't have enough education to keep their monies. And therefore, they delegated that to someone else, and anytime you do that, you're on a path to failure.
That's it.
And they took it.
Well, that's why the emphasis having young people get into the financial world. That's why, and it just my kids, I did the same thing. I let them know, but my father, he set a good example for me in Philadelphia. He was, during those times, this was in the 30s and 20s, he said, hey, look, I think they had Campbell's soup over in Jersey where he said, I don't have my own business. So what he did, he got a truck and he started, he said, you know what, everybody has trash. He said, that's the business to get involved. He said, so he got in a raggedy truck and he started. And the only thing that kept me from being a trillionaire now was segregation.
Okay.
The mafia didn't allow my father into the business of trash. So what did he do? He said, well, during that time, most of the corner stores were Europeans. There was the Jews and Italians. They ran the store. So he said, hey, I'll get a store. So what happened is that he got the store. So the system wouldn't allow him to have his goods for the store delivered. Now, young people, look, how did you do that? I said, well, the control was the mafia controlled the war.
Yeah, exactly.
All the goods for the store came from the war.
Exactly.
And that was competition. But I use that as an example that young people, they have to realize is that money works harder than you will ever work for.
And we agreed the last time I was on here that for young people, the secret had nothing to do with how smart you are. Had nothing to do with what school you went to.
Right.
It had everything to do with, do you have basic finance education?
Right.
And if you do, couple that with all the other strengths and skills that you may have, and you're on a path to great success in this country.
Because see, the thing I look at the economy, and I get in a lot of trouble for this statement too. I always feel that education is the greatest investment that you can make. And every country that has all kinds of problems has a poor education system. You just look around the world, and I feel that, hey, the way that education is now, a lot of people may not agree with it, is that a kid, he goes to school, and what happens? He ends up with a house note for going to school. We should provide free education. Look at the talent that's lost simply because the money wasn't available.
Ask Thomas that when he graduates next May, how much will he owe in student loans? Thomas?
You're on.
I don't know.
How much will you owe in student loans?
It's hopefully 0.
Did you take out one student loan because I insisted you did?
Yes.
How much was that?
I don't remember. Maybe $4,000.
4,000, right? And that was by design, that he would take some responsibility for his education.
Right.
But since
Great.
the market has done so well, hopefully next May, if he goes through these education things I want him to go through, he'll have $4,000 to pay that loan off the day he graduates.
Right.
Plus a ton of other money too.
Well, see, that's why I have you on with your son. This is what the young people have to understand, is that planning is the key.
It's the key, yes.
Planning is the key. I'm a former park and planning commissioner for 10 years, and I've seen a lot of things that have happened for lack of planning.
Yes.
And so what they have to realize is that the wherefore, as far as the ability, there's no such thing. Is nothing in this world that you can't accomplish. Not one thing. Once you get exposed to the educational system and the financial system. I mean, when I say financial system, I'm going to talk about big car, big house. Hey, that's out. If you find yourself without a plan, Professor Bill will tell you here, tell them how to set up a plan. So
Well, first of all, you have to have a goal. What do you want to do? Here's a good example. Thomas is 20 years old. So almost 21 years ago, when he was still in the oven, okay?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I started doing a little bit of research as to institutions. And I picked the tuition for a Ivy League school because I just felt that he would be a bright child, and he is. And he would...
He took it from his mother.
From his mother, yeah, because she's a law school graduate, so that's where he got it from, no doubt.
He got it from
And
his
so I said,
You
okay.
better say that, boy. You won't be able to go
Right.
home.
And I knew, because of my finance background, I knew that the tuitions were not stagnant. They would grow every year, right? And that meant that I would have to calculate that growth in it and then come up with a number that I had to reach for. And once I had that number, I could also say, assuming I could make an investment at some percentage, how much should I put away each month? So that by the time he turned 18, I would have sufficient dollars to send him to college. And it's turning out wonderfully.
And it works. Now, give us some idea. You know, now the young people, in fact, I have a great granddaughter, okay? And there's a lot of things going around about, you know, as soon as the baby comes in, you know,
That's right.
2 months old, you take out an education. Tell us how people can do that, the plan for setting up an education. I mean, you're happy to see the baby and all of that, you know,
Well,
and changing diapers,
right.
but this is more important than anything that you're going to do for your child.
You have
Tell them, Bill.
three basic options.
Okay.
One of them is called a 529. This is a state 529 savings plan. The 529 prepay fading out, really. But the 529 savings plan has a lot of wonderful features that you can put as much money as you want in there for your child's education, okay? Remembering, though, that they're very conservative funds. They're administered by the state. They don't want to do anything that will expose you to risk.
Right.
The other plan is the Coverdell ESA, which is Education Savings Account, okay? And this is just a set of rules by the government, and you can have under that any kind of security you want, preferably in a mutual fund, okay? The problem with it, there's no problem with it. The maximum amount is $2,000 a year. If you start early enough, that is plenty of money to fund your child's education. But if you start later, the Coverdell will not meet your needs. So you
So
have
the
to have
best, so the best thing to start, as soon as they say,
That's-
don't wait till they say daddy or mama. It's
Exactly.
when they jump out there, you know, and you're changing that diaper, you look down and you
Yes,
say,
yes.
I'm going to start right now. And that's
Exactly.
2-3 months.
Right. The third one is the dangerous one. And this is a life insurance product. and I won't say the name of the company, but they are saying that you should plan for your child's education with one of our products, and I'm just saying,
Start
please
with a
don't
G.
do that. Don't do that, okay?
It starts with a G, right?
Start with a G, yes. It sounds like Gerbil, that over there, okay? Okay. Please don't do that.
Don't go
And
Gerbil.
No, if you have any questions about that, call somebody here and get my number, and I'll explain it to you in detail, okay?
Okay. You
Okay.
heard it here on Ed Brown Show. I'm telling you, every day, you know, what we're trying to do, we're trying to enlighten you so that the financing for this education goes down, 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 because you need it and I need it, because what you're going to do, you're going to make it easy for senior citizens, see? So what happens is this happens, and, you know, it can happen. Okay, Thomas, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having
everything.
me.
And I mean, you got a terrific background here. Your daddy and mommy, you know, brought you through, boy. But I tell you one thing is that read the, what do you say? What do you call that newspaper? Let's see. No,
Wall Street.
Wall Street Journal. That's
yeah.
it. Don't forget. Get your Wall Street Journal and find out whether you can get in any investment group and find out. Sure, you're going to lose, but you're going to win in the end. This has been Ed Brown. I want to thank Thomas and his dad here, Professor. And I told you before, this finance thing got me, you know,
Excited, doesn't it?
It got me excited because I want to pass this on.
It's financial education.
The financial education.
Yes.
Say, you're not free unless you, what they work, financially free.
And one of the things Thomas didn't share with you, Thomas has been to Australia, has been to Japan. Thomas has been to
Wow.
South America. Where did you go in South America?
Argentina.
Japan was nice.
In
I was under
Argentina?
there.
Yeah, he went to Hiroshima and Tokyo.
Kyoto as well.
Yeah, and Thomas has an aunt that favors him, okay? And every summer she takes Thomas someplace for a couple weeks. He's
Out of the
been to-
country?
Yeah, Paris. He's been to England.
Mama.
Of course, we took him to Hawaii. We took him to Central America, to
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Does he have to write a report on that when he comes back?
No.
Report?
No.
Oh, that's what I would do.
No.
And I'd make him write a report and then give it to his family.
That's a good point.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, he has a documentary in terms of pictures. Maybe that'll help him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pictures.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, he's got
with
tons
the
of
technology,
pictures of
with the
that.
technology now, you know, the album is obsolete. You know, you just put it on
Right.
the
Computer.
what do you call it? That you can take the pictures and put it on the technology. What's
You
the
mean
technology?
put it on the internet?
Internet.
Yeah.
Right. And when all the aunts and cousins and so on all over the world
Exactly.
can see it right after it's taken.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, they didn't have that. I have a stack of albums, you know, that high.
Right. So it's been a perfect, an ideal child. I mean, no real problems except we gave him the freedom of speech, and sometimes he
I see.
overuses it.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's a good kid.
What do you say? Well, that's good.
That's good, yeah.
That's innovative.
Right.
And
Yeah.
hopefully now, we were talking about soccer. He was saying something about soccer. Didn't you play or
He's
something?
going to play today somewhere.
Yeah.
Great.
If we can get there.
Okay, real quick, tell us about it. The
s-
soccer.
Soccer.
You,
There's a ball involved. I know.
but you're playing now. With,
yeah, I
with
started
what team?
playing. Well, I play for Amherst College's club.